Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Exactly last night, I was talking about this issue, which is Poland's desire to become one of the most important military powers in Europe. Now, what they will do with power and how they will behave is to be seen. I think the US's Trojan horse in Europe, which is Poland, as I mentioned yesterday, will probably pay back certain kind of previous humiliations to some friends from Europe. But hey, this is my assessment of this. Maybe they will use this as a force for good. But what's going on? I stated that Poland attempts to get, I don't know, where it once was, which is an important country in Europe, I don't know, in the 15th, 16th century, 17th maybe, and that's about it. And after that, they disappeared as a country from 1794, I think, until 1918, after the First World War, and then they were re-put together like Humpty Dumpty. And now I think after the Second World War, after they were destroyed by the Soviets, Ukraine was part of Soviet Union too then, and the Germans, it seems like they do not want that to happen again, and I suspect that they are in a bad mood with the Germans for the reparations. Remember, they submitted a World War II reparation bill of $1.3 trillion to the German government, and the German government says, "Nine, bye-bye." But Germany has a very poor military, very, very small, and why? Because they're still under the occupation of the promoters of peace, which is the United States of America, as you know. So let's see what this article that I have here. Actually, I have two articles. One is older, not always better. Older article because this older article I thought about making a video on, but I said, well, that's self-evident, so I'm not. But now with the new revelation, a new assessment, clear to the point, I decided to make this video. So let's go to this article first, which I'm just going to read you the title because these guys want me to give them money, and I will not give them money. So this is from the Telegraph. Poland is now the rising power of Europe. So this was like in February 17th, 2023. And I said, I don't know if I want to do this, Duda and Charles. Okay, so then I jumped to the next one, which is from today. An hour ago, actually. It's hot. The Telegraph again. Ukraine-Russia war latest. But this time is not from the Telegraph because I took it from somewhere else, which is this one right here. So, Ukraine-Russia war latest. Poland vows to become Europe's biggest military power. Good for them. Nothing against that. The only concern I have is the proven fact that entities that were abused will tend to abuse more than entities that were not abused in the past. So I'm kind of like, let's see what's going on, what's going to happen now that Poland is on its way to become that. But it's going to be the vassal state of the United States of America in Europe, and being on the continent, not unlike the other guys who used to be the main guy in Europe, the main US's guys in Europe, which is Great Britain, which is an island, is not really on you know what I mean? Now they have Poland over there, located perfectly nicely with the weasel countries of the Baltic states, total population about 5 million people, you know what I mean? So let's see what the article tells us about Poland's desire. Poland plans to have Europe's strongest army in 2 years. The country's defense minister has said. Now, is that any... look at this kid right here. Anyway, is it concerning? I think it is, but We'll see. Spurred on by the threat of Russian aggression. I don't think that comes from this. I think it comes from something deeper inside the Polish national conscious. As I said, they have a history lately where they were abused by some countries surrounding it. But they forget that they did the same thing in the past. I mean, make no mistake. Don't get upset. Don't get upset with me. Just pick up some history and just look about, let's say 1500, 1460, 1470, 1520. Look at those areas. And when you look at those areas, they were attacking some poor people in nowadays Romania. The Moldovians. Remember, not the Moldovians were going to attack the Poles, but the Poles were attacking them. So, and that's just an example. Remember, Poland reached Moscow at one point with their friends Lithuanians. Remember that one? And this is just two examples. There are numerous. So if you look in Europe's history, you're going to find out that Poland actually was a very aggressive country towards its neighbors whenever it can. I don't blame it. That's the rule of the strong. I take it whenever I feel like. So they have this in their memory that at one point they were a power in Europe, which is true. But then, as I mentioned, they fell. And after they fell, they got again, by the Germans, the Soviets / Ukrainians, Russians, and all those guys. And then the communists, where they were left to the communists by the free world that now got them as a vassal state. Remember, if the free world would have just attacked the evil, which was communism, and the Georgian Stalin, Djugashvili, he was a Georgian, another Russian. Unbelievable, I know. So, if the free world would have stood up to evil, like they do right now, supposedly, and to more evil, which was Stalin and the communist system, they would have attacked and freed the world. But they didn't. They made pacts with the Soviets. They said, okay, here's the world. This part here is yours. This part here is mine. Okay, you can how much you want over here, and we can how much we want them over here. Now, what does that tell you about values, principles? That tells you that they are preferential and situational. That means they're not values. So let's move back to this article and see what else these guys are telling us. So the Polish government has embarked on a massive multi-billion-pound defense spending spree that has resulted in huge orders for tanks, artillery, and combat aircraft. The government, which faces a general election in the autumn, also intends to double the size of the Polish army to 300,000 personnel as part of an ambitious defense policy that could turn Poland into the continent's premier military power. Good, very good, very good. Now, Poland will soon take deliveries of US-made Abrams tanks. The government has ordered 116 older M1A1 Abrams as a stopgap measure to replace tanks sent to Ukraine and to give Poland's armored forces bite before significant numbers of the 250 brand new M1A1 Abrams and 1,000 South Korea K2 the government has also bought start to arrive. Well, that's good. And remember, I made a video a while ago, and you can still find information online if you really want. It's just 2 clicks away. They ordered about, if I remember correctly, 500 HIMARSs and 300 some South Korean, again, mid-range, long-range defense systems, multiple. I wondered why. They ordered about like 250 Abrams tanks, which is okay. I'm okay with it. They can do whatever they want as long as they're independent and sovereign. It's what they will do with that power. This is the question, which I suspect they will not use it as a defensive mechanism. What they will do, they're not going to attack Germany, obviously. They're not going to attack the Baltic states or Ukraine. But it may be that they will do what they did, and sorry to bring that up, before the Second World War, when they the Polish government, was accused by some bad people of negotiating in bad faith. That is, I'm going to negotiate with you, but I do not give a shit about this negotiation. So let's meet, but I'm just pretending I'm negotiating. Why? Because I have, again, the Brits, my masters from then, and the French, that they said, if something happens, we're going to come and destroy those who happen to attack you. Well, that happened in, the 1st of September 1939, and the Germans invaded because they were bad. And then Great Britain declared war to Germany, and France was waiting for about 48 hours, if I remember correctly, to declare war and fulfill its obligations under the treaties and pacts they had together. And then guess what? What happened? The Ukrainians and the Russians from the Soviet Union invaded Poland from the east. So they did the same thing that the Germans did to Poland. That was bad, very bad. The Poles fought like they know how to fight. Even Napoleon Bonaparte praised the Polish spirit and courage, which I never doubt that. Now, what happened next? You would expect that in the name of principles, values, and all this, those guys who declared war to the Germans for doing something, let's call it A, would declare war against the Soviets for doing that thing called A. So they did the same thing, but the bearers and the supporters of freedom, love, and all that, they didn't declare war on Soviet Union. Well, if you're a principled man, you would intervene here to defend the rape victim, and you will intervene here as well to protect the rape victim, because it's a rape. It doesn't matter that here is your uncle and over there is an unknown person, is it? And I made it like that just to... So this is how values work. Well, those are not values. So Poland has that in their brain, and they're still vassal state. They're still, how can you not be? You were created as a country, all right, after 1918. Then you became the vassal state, or under the Soviet influence, and then after that, now you decided to be the vassal state of the United States of America. That's your decision, and I can comment on it, and you know best. But good job, become the strongest, and you will see, we will see how you use it. If it's going to be a force for peace, or a force for something else. Now remember, in order to have peace, you have to eliminate your enemies. And in the name of peace, you could go and do shit, if you know what I mean. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.